Welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. So this is going to be the start of a new kind of format that I came up with over the last few days. I feel like this is a better way to do it. Number one, for search engine optimization, so that way I don't have people slogging through episodes of content they don't really care about. Because if I lump together Star Wars and Marvel and DC and a horror movie or a movie from 1928 or anything like that, it's going to get it's going to get not confusing, but it's going to become a lot, and it's like you have to slog through and find out what point in the episode it is. So rather than doing that, we're going to limit to one topic an episode. The Thursday episode will always be a movie review. But if I have a video game review, or if I have a video game review, or a book review, or an audio book review, or anything else I want to talk about, we're going to be doing that in these little standalone episodes, apart from the movie review. This week is our 5-year anniversary. 5 years ago, yesterday. I would have recorded this yesterday, but I was stuck at home because there was a hurricane. Tropical storm. Winds were bad. We had no power in a lot of places, so we're recording it today. And what I want to talk about today is a theory I tweeted about last week about what Disney Plus is doing. And how Disney Plus is going to be handling Star Wars in the future. And the reason why I want to talk about it here is because this is a theory based on what I've seen rumored from other places. So let's start out with what these rumors are that we've heard. Number one, we know confirmed that the TV show, there's an animated show called The Bad Batch, which is spun off of the Clone Wars, set between episodes 3 and 4 of Star Wars, will be coming at some point in the near future. I think it said early next year is when that will be coming. We know that's happening. That's definite. We know that Rosario Dawson has been formally cast as, I think formally cast, as Ahsoka in a recurring role starting in The Mandalorian Season 2, which comes out in October, and also in other projects. Predominantly, we have Kenobi as a contender, and then there are other places where she can pop in and out too. That's number 2. Number 3, there have been inklings of other shows, starting with a statement from Alvin Ehrenreich saying there have been talks about continuing the story from Solo into new movies, which would be fine. Solo was pretty good, actually. I really liked Solo, but they're continuing that out. Then there came a report of a Lando Calrissian show, with Donald Glover reprising. There was a report of Maul reprising his role in multiple shows in that era. And then there was also there was also there was one other. Oh, right, and we know Kenobi is happening. We know Kenobi will not be what it originally was, and had to change it. It was too close to The Mandalorian, which I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen when we saw The Mandalorian, and we found out it was about him protecting Baby Yoda, well, the child, but, Baby Yoda, and keeping him from being killed, and, getting into fights and all kinds of cool things with this baby. It's just Lone Wolf and Cub. It's another story of Lone Wolf and Cub. It's Logan. It's Western. It's a Western. This is what it is. So that's what I thought Kenobi was going to be. But then they said they had to rework Kenobi because it was too similar to The Mandalorian, which I completely understand, because that would have been the complaint if it happened, and people would have been bitching about that too. Because if there's one thing that Star Wars fans hate more than anything else on the planet, it's Star Wars. That's one of the things I've learned over the last few years, and that would have happened. So we don't have to do that. It's going to be another story. Now, if we're going to do a Kenobi story, I would do something about him learning the intricacies of the Force in his time in exile. I'd like to think that he left Tatooine to do things during that time, but still, either way, that's all cool stuff that can happen there. Now, So that's all happening. Then came the report that they were doing a Crimson Dawn show. And Crimson Dawn, for those of you who don't know, is Kira. If I remember, I've only watched all like twice. If I remember correctly, that was the name of the organization that Kira worked for, or that was the code name for Darth Maul and his organization. So the question that we have now is, what is going on here? Because this is a lot. This is a lot all happening at once. What is the end game here? Where are they going with this? I think they're going to Avengers-ize it, for lack of a better word. Or, you know what? Let's not use Avengers-ize it because that's theatrical. Let's say Defenders-ize it. Where we're going to have all these shows happening. And they're all going to... If this is happening, because a lot of these are rumors and reports and not entirely reputable sources reporting on it. It's not like the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or things like that. These are quote-unquote insider accounts who have like over 500 track records. For those of you who don't watch sports, it's like more than half the time they're right. And it's not like we got this covered, who just throws any idea they have at the wall, and eventually something will stick, and then they can say it's right. These are people who, like, you know, are vetted, and they're cautious with their predictions, and they're right a good amount of the time, good enough where it's worth reporting. These aren't 4chan rumors, these aren't Reddit rumors, these are, like, kind of credible sources. Now, I can't validate the credibility of the sources, I can't validate the credibility of these reports, but we're going to report on them anyway because, you know, it's cool speculation. If they're going to do this, I think the best way to do it is to do a large crossover for, not the Defenders, in this case it would be Crimson Dawn. And that would put Maul in place for where he starts in Rebels. Because, like, look, I get that the Clone Wars ends with Maul leaving in a ship, and then in his first introduction, in in Rebels, he said, "Oh, I crashed here." Yeah, but it's Star Wars and ships crash all the time, so it's not quite, you know, unique that happened, or it's not like it's unlikely that it would happen twice. So what I would do if this is me, I would do Kenobi, I would do all of these other shows, and then have them all come together to deal with Crimson Dawn, however you want to put that on screen. And the other thing I would do, considering that Solo exists in this weird situation where it's designed purely to answer questions that no one was asking to begin with, it can give you an opportunity to kind of like understand where Obi-Wan knew to go to Han and Chewie in A New Hope. Because it's something that, like, didn't really bother me, but, like, this is the first pilot they found, and they're like, yeah, we'll go with this guy. And, like, I get that in a movie they're not going to show them, like, actively price shopping a bunch of smugglers to try and find their way to Alderaan, but, like, at the same time, there's no indication that they did attempt to find anyone else. So, like, I think a neat thing would be if the two of them knew each other before that movie happened, and they had met once in the past, and then it's 10 years later, so, like, neither of them look the same, so if both of them didn't recognize each other, that wouldn't be too outlandish. But it'd be interesting to see. So, let's see how this plays out in the coming weeks, if any of this is even true, and what shows we get. Because, like, here's the thing, I'll watch it anyway, because I have Disney+. But it's definitely worth waiting to see what happens. So until then, have a great rest of your week. Tomorrow we will be back with, I'm going to talk about Muppets Now tomorrow in an episode, and depending on if I have time tonight, I'll be watching The Rocketeer, and we'll be seeing what we have going on with that tomorrow in 2 separate episodes. So until then, have a great rest of your week.